Peacock. Trying to fill up our Instagram and Facebook and other socials with content today. So been working all day to try to get that done and get people to send me stuff that I can use. People that are even trying to build whether it's a brand for their business or even a personal brand, they get oftentimes very caught up in just the August 31st. August 31st. Got it?
Yes, sir. No, we're ready.
So, Ron, we just did such an amazing podcast. We talked about income versus wealth. I think that the Facebook page and the texting is going to be key. You know? Yeah, just use the team HiredUp.
You know, which is awesome. But I'm gonna try what you were suggesting, and starting tomorrow, I'm just gonna do them in small increments since we do have a little bit of time.
Right.
I'm looking. Hold on.
Everybody responds to that.
It's gonna hit with everybody, but what I especially like about it,
Is that what?
the young crowd.
Which is, that's kind of what we're targeting, right?
Yeah, I mean.
For jobs. I mean.
And you know what else I like about this is that it's not so much like, hey, it's not so much an explanation.
Yes.
It's a call to action.
It is
what I think is cool about this.
Well, and you know, social media is so visual too, and so the fact that they pulled the emoji aspect into it, you know, a lot of companies they won't. It's just straight copy.
Right.
Not many people get it, and the people that do really well. And it's like a marathon. Like the marketing world is like, it's a sprinting marathon. How do we communicate with them? Like, what's our tone of voice? What kind of stuff is going to intrigue this type of person? You know, this whole time, this 3-week period that we've had has really been the greatest thing that ever could have happened to us. I mean, you know, not that we were rushed, but there was a lot of stuff that we needed to get done that we didn't get done. And, you know, having this period of time has been so great for just us as a team to figure out exactly what we're doing before we actually go into this launch. You know, we resubmitted today to the App Store. Just actually a few minutes ago, I just got the text that we resubmitted. And so really excited about that. I think that we should get approved either probably the first or second time if there's, you know, no other big things that are in our way. But we've got the biggest thing out of the way, which is to pay Apple's ransom fee. So anyways, that's done. The developers are good. My team, you know, here in Dallas is all great. Just a good week, man. So grateful for the group around us. The Vayner team, the Sasha group has been phenomenal in putting together just unbelievable content and just adding so much value to the voice of HiredUp. I mean, you know, there's so many things that you don't think about that go into launching, especially the digital brand of a company. I mean, you know, conversation I had yesterday was actually figuring out the tone of the business. Like, if you were to personify the company, what does that sound like? Like, who is HiredUp? What does it sound like? Is it a first person? Is it a third person? Is it playful banter? Is it more serious? Just figuring that out is really interesting. And it's stuff that I never actually thought about. There are so many things that you can do as a company, any company, to leverage social media and the internet. It's unbelievable. I you know, growing up in the age of technology, like, I always knew how much of a superpower the internet was, but now being here today and like just seeing what our team has been able to produce and what we can do with literally a cell phone for our brand is just, it's mind-blowing. It's crazy. So we are thrilled about that. I've started kind of like yelling at friends of mine and people who own businesses to just get on their phones more, just use more. Like literally just the act of taking out your phone and recording what you're doing in the day of your business and then posting that is like, just, it seems like such obvious content, but it's not, and it's so beneficial. Today I had a great podcast with Ron Sturgeon. He was on the Biz Owners podcast, and I've had him on my Instagram page a couple times. Had another podcast with him today. It was fantastic. He wanted to talk about, he named the episode Just Do It. And so his whole thing is he wants people to actually just do the thing that they're talking about doing. And we talked a lot about content, actually. I mean, the guy's probably 65, 68, maybe. I don't know, maybe 70. He understands digital more than a lot of people that I know that are, in their 20s. It's unbelievable what that guy understands about SEO and just content and producing content. Every so often they go to one of the properties that they manage in their real estate portfolio, and they have the property manager shoot 100 videos, and they literally take out their phone and they shoot him on video talking about just anything, like about this apartment or this office space or whatever it is, and they blast that out over the course of a couple months. Unbelievable. I mean, for a 65-year-old guy to understand that at such a depth is really neat. So, and then we also talked about other real estate stuff, and we talked about, we said this on the last podcast, but it was such great content that we brought it up again. What do you do if you have some money in the bank and you want to start that real estate portfolio? How do you actually do it? What's the long term? And how do you actually set up a goal for your real estate portfolio and creating wealth in real estate? It was great. It was really great. We spent about 2.5 hours together. Such an interesting guy. So excited for that episode to come out. And it's going to really be 2 episodes, and I'm probably going to split that into about 12 different segments that I'm pretty excited about. Evan York podcast is coming out next week. I am pumped about it. I'm actually going to do like 4 shows inside of that podcast. Okay, so I'm going to have one that's like a Marketing Monday. We're going to do one about hiring. We're going to do one about just entrepreneurs around Dallas. It's like such great stuff that I think is just going to bring a huge amount of value. I mean, what I like about this is that like I'm not at a point to where I've made it. I mean, our company's even pre-revenue. We haven't even launched at this point. But bringing in people who have done it before, selfishly, I get to learn so much from them. And then just pushing the content out there in podcast form and video form and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. Like in video and audio and written word, there's so much value there. If people would take that, these nuggets from people who have actually done it before, I think is really great. Another thing that I'll be doing is bringing on influencers. So, people that have a couple 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, whatever, and talk to them about, hey, how did you actually come up with this brand? How did you create this brand? And more importantly, how did you monetize this brand? Excited about that. We're going to talk a lot to hiring managers and business owners that are doing hiring. And so that's also going to be a segment on our HiredUp channel, which you can't see yet. It's private because we're building up those profiles. But it'll be called HiredUp TV. So we're going to bring in a lot of people to talk about how they hire in their business, how they find their talent, how they train them, and all that. So excited about that. Just so many good things coming. I mean, what's cool is that I've been able to integrate like the content of me and then of our business into the day-to-day of the company. Like it's become the same thing. Obviously there's other stuff that has to go on and strategy and things like that in the company that aren't just producing content. But what I'm learning is that pretty much everything I do and we do as a team throughout the day can be recordable, postable, and usable to help ourselves and help other people. And so I'm very much looking forward to looking back and seeing sort of the timeline and the documentary that we're creating of building this business. I just think that's going to be really, really cool. So, anyways, excited. Today's Friday. We will see you next week. Have an awesome weekend.